Reed, I'm going to exclusively rely on you to communicate with the truck, as Kane sounds like he's in the Apollo 13 radio channel, and I cannot hear him very well. So.
Now, fans, we ask you to please rise if you are able and remove your hats to join Miss Emma Bound for the singing of tonight's national anthem.
It's Tuesday night. Well, I guess it's a little bit different. It's Hamilton Cardinals baseball here on our YouTube channel. It's Reed Duthie alongside Matt Creeley as we bring you game 42. Matt, this is it. The last game of the season. These two teams locked into their playoff spots, but still so much to be decided. And the Cardinals, well, they're looking for a little bit of momentum headed into the first round.
Yeah, you have to be, and here we are, right? It's tough to believe this season flew by, and we're at 42 of 42. This is it for the regular season, but the Cardinals would love to win the last game of the season here and go into the playoffs with a victory, with some positive momentum, like you said, because you know they lost their last one on Saturday, and even though they are locked in, anything helps.
It'll be Colby Ring taking the mound tonight for the Cardinals. And Matt, if they're going to have success in the playoffs, they may need Ring either in a spot start or coming out of the bullpen. You know there's going to be a Katska, Iguchi, Peters, but Ring brings that left-handed style, and he could be an integral piece for success if he can get it all sorted out.
We were talking so much during our last broadcast together about the three-headed monster at the top of the Cardinals rotation, but this series in the first round for Hamilton, whoever it ends up being against, could go as much as 5 games. And in games 4 and 5, if all your starters don't have enough rest, the Cardinals will need somebody like a Colby Ring, maybe a Rich Corrente, maybe a Casey Howard, whoever it is, to step up. And this is a big start for Colby. If he can establish the strike zone tonight and get past some of the command issues that have plagued him this season, he will gain the trust of his coaching staff and maybe buy himself a start in the playoffs.
Yeah, coming in tonight, I didn't think we would see Iguchi or a Katska. Got to believe that they're likely to have games 1 and 2, whether it's Guelph, whether it's Barrie, or whether it's London in the first round. But at the same time, I was wondering if it was going to be Ring or Peters coming into the park tonight, whether Peters might want another start headed in, but I think he's in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah, all 3 of them threw in Saturday's game at Barrie just to get the 3 starters their tune-ups before the postseason. So they've thrown for the last time this regular season, and the Cardinals bullpen is going to take us the rest of the way home.
Spencer Ross will lead off a very young Kitchener Panthers lineup here tonight. Ross, Misa, Gonzalez, Ibarra, and then a lot of young guys in behind them. And Ross is going to send this one out foul on the first base side. Luis Bernardo over there tonight. Andrew Johnston providing the battery mate for Colby Ring as the Cardinals do a little bit of defensive swapping.
Yeah, and Johnston being on this roster, even with Connor Hicks back at school, provides so much flexibility at the catcher position. We know Tanner Rempel can go there too, and the Cardinals have a lot of ways to go to lessen Luis Bernardo's workload and make sure that he is as rested as he possibly can be going into the postseason.
You will see Tanner Rempel tonight as well. He's serving as the DH for the Cardinals. As Colby Ring delivers high, that's going to run the count to 3-1. As Ross looking to work an early walk. Cardinals through the infield. Bernardo at first, Gravel at second, DeCastro at short, Whalen over at third as Ring gets Ross swinging through to bring the count full. DeBanning, Duncan, and Daly, the outfield. The only change you might see for game 1 of the playoffs would be Danny Berg in left field, and Brandon Daly, a bit of a super utility player. Ross going to shoot this one high. Gravel charges in off second. 1 away. Good start there, Matt, for Colby Ring. As he ended up falling behind 3-1, battled his way back and induced the pop out.
Yeah, and again, as we were talking about earlier, the command has been the issue for Colby this season, if there has been one. And he did a great job sticking to his approach there. He worked consistently up and in on Spencer Ross there, making him uncomfortable and inducing early pop-up.
Gravel, great play on the ground, and turns it over to Bernardo for 2 away. Brilliance right there as Nolan Misa swung on the first pitch, and Gravel showing impressive range, tracks the ball for the 4-3 putout.
We know Cam Gravel can play a great second. He showcases great range going both ways over there. Nice play.
Raul Gonzalez will step in. He of the .329 batting average, quite simply one of the best players in the IBL. And he will provide a test for the arm of Colby Ring tonight. And it does feel weird bringing you IBL baseball on a Tuesday. Of course, this game was slated for Friday night, and Matt and I were ready to go until we got called to build the Ark.
It has not stopped raining all summer.
Gonzalez on the ground, tracked Whalen, nice stab over to first. Bernardo didn't even have to move. 3 up, 3 down. Efficient for Colby Ring, and we'll be back with the Cardinals with the bats in their hands on Hamilton Cardinals Baseball on YouTube. Welcome back inside Bernie Arbor Stadium. Cardinals with the bats in their hands for the first time. Raquelvin DeCastro will step in. And Matt, boy, is this an odd one. Ryan Burnside, the former Cardinals catcher, will be pitching to Junior Ibarra tonight. The outfield for the Panthers, Jordan Carthy in left, Liam McTeague in center, Nathan Laird in right. Carthy and Laird are pitchers.
Yeah, I had to do a double take when I saw pretty much the entire lineup. It was all turned upside down.
And DeCastro puts this one on the ground to short. Popping up with it and delivering it across is A.J. Carosis, and that's one away.
But it is that time of year, right, Reed? The Panthers already have their playoff schedule for the Welland Jackfish. Their sights are set on Thursday. They need to preserve arms, so guys who wouldn't normally throw but have experience pitching are getting their shot tonight.
Well, they're the only series that has their schedule thus far. Everything else is still to be decided. Stepping in is Cam Gravel. And Gravel has been an impressive piece for these Cardinals, especially defensively. The range that he shows out of that second base spot is tremendous.
And Cam getting a look at the top of the order here with Coley and Tomasi, Connor Hicks going back to school.
And Gravel's going to earn himself a base hit.
How about that? Get a couple of chances in the two-hole. Get yourself a base hit.
Now, the thing here, Matt, obviously with Gravel on first, is Burnside is going to have to be very weary, because Gravel, if he decides he wants second base, he could take off in a flash.
Absolutely. He's shown great speed, a little over-aggressive at times on the base pass, but no doubt that is on the minds of the Kitchener Panthers as they shift their infield here with Tyler Duncan coming up.
The reigning IBL MVPs hitting .329. And there goes Gravel. Ibarra didn't even pop up to make that throw and got Gravel at second base. Oh, the arm of Junior Ibarra. And just like that, Tyler Duncan is hitting with the bases empty and two away.
Not what you want to see there for Hamilton, but really impressive throw by Ibarra. Barely got out of his crouch.
Tak Matsuda was right on the scene over at second base. It was a tight one, though.
Oh, yeah. Bang, bang play, tough call. I do not envy Tak's job right there, but again, fantastic work by the catcher Ibarra.
Duncan slaps this one, and it's just foul. If that had stayed fair, he'd still be running, as that was bending over towards the foul territory near the Cardinals bullpen, and if the ball gets over there, it can just run.
Yeah, Duncan would have had a lot of leeway there. I know it's hit to left field, but I'm sure he would have had an outside shot at three if that had dropped a couple inches to the right.
I think people forget, for Tyler Duncan's size, he can move like a cat. And Junior Ibarra, had that one catch him. As Burnside's pitch came in low, full count to Duncan.
And that's where, if you're the Cardinals, you can't help but wonder what might have been there, because Gravel caught stealing. Had he not been caught stealing, or had he even just stayed put at first, he'd be in scoring position right now anyhow with that pitch bounced in the dirt by Burnside.
And Ibarra shaking out his wrist there, as Duncan puts this one on the ground, and that one's going to run. Duncan never even dropped the bat. I think he knew.
They tell you to hustle, but Tyler's got to save his legs for the postseason.
I'm going to run here because I have to. Count stays 2-2. Burnside with the look in. He'll deliver. Ibarra, great friend. Burnside was half the way back to the dugout. That was it was outside, there's no question. It was a brilliant frame, though, by Ibarra, and I thought he was going to buy that strike.
That's a great pitch, though, from Burnside. Either way, a backdoor breaking ball almost bends back over that outside corner.
Duncan hammers this into right field. That's going to track all the way to the fence. Duncan's on his horse. He's going to round second. Tyler Duncan in for third base. He's got the triple. Well, and that'll put an early jolt into the Cards faithful.
Unbelievable swing by Tyler Duncan, and this is what happens. You hang tough with 2 strikes, you get back even, and then you force the count full. You foul off what you have to foul off, you take pitches, and then you make Burnside miss over the middle of the plate. Fantastic job by Duncan, and when he gets a pitch, especially as a lefty, that low middle part of the zone, he golfs it right down the line for a searing triple.
And now the man who could be elected mayor of Hamilton, Luis Bernardo, steps in. He'll put this one on the ground at third base. Popping up with his voice and over to first. It'll be in time, and that will end the threat. Cardinals put a little bit of life into the crowd. Can't quite get one across in the bottom of 1. We'll be back with the top of 2 right after this.
Want to give a big special shout out to all of our groups in attendance. You hear your group make some noise. The Hamilton Challenger Baseball Association, the Mark Freese House, the Hamilton Police Association, Rotary Club of Hamilton, Pantry for Cause, Mission Services, the SB Group, Remax, and we're welcoming the Mount Hamilton Fire Hockey Association, home to youth hockey for over 55 years, and the Stony Creek 12U Blue Jays. Also want to give a big birthday shout out to Brian Lyle. Happy birthday, Brian, from all of us here at the Hamilton Cardinals. Looking for your next group outing? Look no further. Visit IBLCardinals.ca for more information. Stepping up to the plate, the catcher, number 48, Junior Ibarra.
Junior Ibarra will lead off the top of the second for the Kitchener Panthers. Ibarra made the impressive throw from his knees to pick off Cam Gravel over at second base. And in the long run, Matt, that prevented a run.
It definitely did. That triple by Tyler Duncan would have been a run scorer. And catcher defense, we've seen it here at this stadium so many times. Ibarra is not the first to flex an impressive throwing arm.
No, we've seen Bernardo do it. We've seen Rempel do it. We've seen a number of catchers stepping into this ballpark do it. I can think of Robert Mullen, who's excellent at it. Ibarra himself. And one of the Mara brothers in Toronto. I know it's one of about 7, but ball put on the ground as Junior Ibarra will slap that back up the middle, and the catcher has the single.
Stepping up to the plate, third baseman.
It's Justin Mara, the catcher, by the way.
I was going to say, I didn't know which Mara brother was which either. Nobody does.
I think they're somewhat interchangeable because I've seen Justin Mara play second before. And
then there's Adam Mara, the pitcher.
I think he's the one that stands out because he is the pitcher. As this one put on the ground, and Ibarra was off running. Often you see a catcher hopping up to try to steal a base.
I was going to say, you don't see that every day from your backstop, but even on a lefty, he saw a pitch to run on that he liked. Got a pretty good jump at Spencer Voisin, fouls it off.
Voisin facing off with Colby Ring. Voisin came into the game hitting .209.
That triple by Tyler Duncan in the bottom half of the first inning was the third Cardinals triple of the season and the first since Duncan himself led off the Canada Day contest in Welland with a triple to deep center.
Is the other one Dennis DeBanning?
No, it was now former Cardinal Brendan Nicholson.
That makes sense. I went out on a limb with the Cardinals leader in doubles.
Yeah, you would think, right? Dennis has definitely hit a lot of balls that have been worthy of a triple this year, but he's content to rack up the doubles instead. It's been a big year for him.
Yeah, provides quite the threat through the middle of the Cardinals lineup, teamed up with Duncan and Bernardo. As Voisin will shoot this one into shallow center field, and that will move Ibarra up to second. And Voisin with the little bloop single puts 2 on for Jordan Carthy, who's playing left field but is naturally a pitcher. Now, being told he has not pitched a whole lot this season.
That's a tough deal for Colby Ring. Got the soft contact in the air, but it falls right into the Bermuda Triangle in center field to put the Panthers in business.
Ring delivers this one on the ground. DeCastro over to third, will take the lead runner and retire Ibarra on the fielder's choice. Whalen thought about delivering on the turn, but discretion, the better part of valor that time. They'll be content to take the lead runner.
Great defensive awareness there by DeCastro. He was deep in the hole. A throw to first would have been tough. Even a throw to second would have been a tough play considering where he was positioned. But he gets it on his backhand, and he uses the forced play at third to his advantage to get the Cardinals an out.
So Barr retired on that fielder's choice. And Ring trying to work inside and plunks A.J. Carosis.
Stepping up to the plate, right fielder number 14.
And the hit by pitch will move Voisin to third. Carthy goes up to second. And it's Nathan Laird, who again listed on the Panthers roster as a pitcher, and now there's a conference being called amongst the umpires.
Maybe asking if he leaned into that one. Doesn't look like he's going anywhere, though.
I don't think anything's going to change coming out of this. And with Laird stepping in, and one away, Colby Ring has his first taste of adversity on the evening.
Colby pitched out of a bases-loaded situation in a relief appearance in Toronto a couple weeks ago. Cardinals will be looking for him to do the same here as the bottom of the Kitchener order comes up in this threatening spot.
Ball inside. 1-0. And that one's going to be ripped foul. And that'll even it up at 1-1 as Laird got impressive sound off that one, but turned it way out foul.
Going back to that hit by pitch for Colby there, it's tough to work inside for a left-handed pitcher against a left-handed batter. He did it against the righty Ross in the first inning to perfection, but little room for error. Lefty-lefty trying to work inside.
And Laird will send this one into center field. Duncan forced to back off. He'll have it. Duncan's going to deliver to third base, just off target a little bit. And the sac fly will score the lead runner Voisin, and it'll be runners on the corners.
Stepping up to the plate, center fielder number 52, Liam McTagg.
So Carosis stays over at first. Carthy on his way to third. And McTagg will step in. 2 away and runners on the corners. As Ring delivers, and that one looked like it slipped out of his hand. Ring will want to be careful there.
Again, you see the danger working inside lefty-lefty. Colby has already hit a batter once doing that, and he almost did it again. He's got a base open this time, but it's a thin, tight rope to walk.
And Ring with a check over to first, but I think that might have just been to get himself reset. Winding and delivering his Ring, and fighting that one off was McTagg.
It's one of those check swings on a pitch inside where he was trying to pull back, but then he fouls it off. That pitch was nowhere near the zone, but Colby will take that one.
McTagg 12 at bats so far on the season, hitting 167, but very, very limited opportunity. As this one on the ground, Johnston will fire over to get it, but that's going to move Carosas up to second. And just like that, 2 in scoring position, even with the 2 out. And Matt, this is where Colby Ring's going to have to dig down a little bit and try to get out of this jam.
Yeah, he's got the 2 outs, so he doesn't need to worry about the double play being taken out of the picture or anything.
Got McTagg swinging at that, 2-2.
That's a great pitch. You establish the inside part of the plate and then go away in a hitter's count. Get McTagg swinging and missing. Colby trying to get himself back in the driver's seat here with 2 strikes. 1 away from getting out of it.
If he can limit the damage to 1, it would be a big step forward, as that one comes in a little bit low. Full count to McTagg. Ross is on deck to turn the lineup over if McTagg reaches base. Ring delivers. And that one's low. McTagg will take the walk. And that'll bring up Spencer Ross, who had the pop-up to open the game to Cam Gravel.
Now at the plate, second baseman number 5, Spencer Ross.
This has been a long inning for Colby, but he's only allowed the 1 run. We'll see if he can get some confidence back facing Ross, who he handled well first time through.
Ring winds and ball high and tight, 1-0. No action in the Cardinals bullpen as of yet. As Ring delivers, and that one's in for a strike, 1-1. Some guys moving around down there a bit, Matt, but nobody loosening up. So I think they're going to give Ring a bit of a leash here.
Yeah, again, saving the arms for the impending playoff series is going to be the priority. They'll let Colby see if he can dig his way out of this without having to burn through an entire bullpen.
And Ring will deliver, running inside. 2-1.
Thinking ahead to the Cardinals' relief plans for the night, it is all but a certainty that we will see left-hander Cade Kozak, who still needs 1 more inning to qualify for the playoff roster.
So I would say, yeah, that one's a pretty safe bet. 3-1 now, the count to Ross.
Kozak worked an inning and 2/3 of near flawless work against the London Majors last Tuesday.
Kozak's got an impressive arm, Matt. He's somebody who's got a very bright future. As Ring delivers, Ross sends that one foul, and Ring battling his way back to the full count. If he can induce something on the ground, there's a play at any base. Strikeout or pop-out works just as well in this scenario for the Cardinals. Ring delivers on the full count and lost Ross on the walk. Carthy will step across the plate. Carosas will head up to third. McTagg to second. And on back-to-back walks, Spencer Ross is at first, with Nolan Misa stepping in, hitting .262 on the year. And Ring runs that one inside 1-0. Winds and delivers. Put that one right over the plate. 1-1.
Cardinal faithful trying to get behind Colby here, get him out of this inning. It's been a long one, but 2-0 is far from an impossible climb, especially for these Cardinals.
Absolutely. And Misa will send this one into right field. DeBanning settles, got it. And that's 3 away to close the inning. Ring will leave the bases loaded. 2 come across to score. Gonna get the bats back into the hands of the Cardinals when we return for the bottom of the second inning.
All my friends at the Silver Stand's doing tonight. Bringing the energy. I love it. I love coming to visit you guys. You're all my favorite. But I have a little surprise for all my kiddos here today. Who wants to go and run on the field after? Yeah, you do. Right after inning, we get to go around the bases thanks to Squish LA. Even the dogs are excited out here. Let's go. So we're going to walk very safely and slowly to the main entrance, and we'll go after this inning. But you got to make some noise. Let me hear ya. And you guys are so awesome. It's time for a t-shirt. Let's make some noise.
For your safety, please do not jump the fence. If you're not down to the Cardinals entrance when the last out of the inning is made, you may not be allowed to run the bases.
It's Hamilton Cardinals baseball on YouTube as Dennis DeBanning will stride his way in to open up the bottom of the second for the Cards. And Matt Colby Ring left the bases loaded on the Panthers. Got the bats back into the hands. Can the Cardinals help him out?
That was a tough test for Colby that time, but he got the third out. He danced his way out of it with minimal damage ultimately.
And again, the pitcher on the hill tonight for the Kitchener Panthers is Ryan Burnside, the former Hamilton Cardinal, who is predominantly a catcher.
Yeah, we're all over the place for this game 82. Both these teams locked into the standings and acting with the postseason in mind, so some unorthodox lineup and pitching decisions for today.
Kind of expected it coming to the park, that we would see some things that you might not normally see.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, Panthers are the only team in the IBL who have their schedule and know their first-round opponent, though knowing certainly is less than half the battle in that situation, with it being the Welland Jackfish.
Right on, and at least the Panthers can say that they've got nothing to lose. They will be going in there with very little expectation.
Dennis DeBanning on the ground, and that one's going to sneak through the infield. Carosis tried to get down to block it, and it was on its way with eyes, and DeBanning has the single.
Great way to lead off the inning for DeBanning. He has been absolutely tormenting these Panthers all year, slugging, and that is slugging 750 against them going into today. He has been the best Cardinal hitter head-to-head against these Panthers, and he's keeping that ball rolling here to set up a opportunity for Tanner Rempel.
Tanner, a.k.a. Billy Brubaker Rempel, will step in. You can't watch the movie Summer Catch and tell me he is not a dead ringer. As Burnside delivers. Right down to the personality. One of the most fun guys in all of sports. In fact, on Friday night I saw, while the rain was pouring.
Oh, goodness.
And there was a lake in the infield, Tanner went out to see if he could, potentially take ground balls, and I think Eric Spearin almost had a heart attack.
Yeah. Cardinals execs were not thrilled with it. Tanner was trying to see if he could have a little swim on the baseball field.
He almost did.
Anyone almost could have. That field, I have never seen a field
No.
so soaked through.
No.
That was ridiculous.
And Rempel will fire that one. Oh, cut down at second base. Rempel thought he was going to have the opening, and Spencer Ross climbed the ladder and snow-coned it. A little bit of bad luck there for Tanner Rempel. Dennis DeBanning gets caught and must stay at first base as Andrew Johnston will step in.
Tough luck indeed there for Rempel. If you're going to swing at a pitch in that part of the zone, that's exactly what you want to do with it. Hit it on a line and get it the other way, and he did. But beautiful leaping catch over at second by Ross, who's been a sure-handed infielder all season for Kitchener.
Ross was just kind of backing up, and then realized he had a chance to get up the ladder for it, and made it look good as Johnston, wow, on a laser, sends it foul into the bleachers. Wow, when Andrew Johnston gets around on a baseball, the sound it makes is downright frightening. Burnside delivers. Johnston reaches out. Ball on the ground to third. To second for one is in time to retire DeBanning on the fielder's choice.
Stepping up to the plate, the third baseman, number 27, Steven Whalen.
And that'll bring Stephen Whalen in, the former Kitchener Panther.
Whalen was watching the Panthers batting practice up close and personal today, saying hi to some of his old buddies. He was a Panther during the season opener against the Cardinals way back in May, and now in a nice form of symmetry, he gets to end off the season with the Cardinals against his old squad.
And Spencer Ross making a couple of plays in the bottom of this second inning to retire the Cardinals side. Got under that looper from Whalen. And although the Cardinals make contact in each of their at-bats, they go down in 4, and it will be back to Colby Ring when we return for the top of the third inning.
Let's give a big round of applause for Key Crew Manager Kyle Lambert running the birthday for his birthday. Swiss Chalet is Canada's favorite place for rotisserie chicken. With recipes passed down from generation to generation, Swiss Chalet is a taste of delicious comfort. Only a 10-minute drive from the stadium, there's no Ronald Road location at 1240 Ronald Road East, right here in Hamilton.
Give it up for our last few runners on the field.
It's Hamilton Cardinals baseball on YouTube as Colby Ring getting loose for the top of the third inning as one young lady just finishing her trip around the bases. And again, impressive, Matt. The work that Eric Spear has put into this ball club. Having grown up in this city, I've known about the Cardinals through a number of iterations my entire life, and to see the energy back in this ballpark and what he's done with this team has been nothing short of incredible.
No doubt about it, and I'm sure that if you added up the amount of kids that we get for Kids Run the Bases every game, there's got to be on the whole season north of 1,000. It is just ridiculous, the enthusiasm around every promotion. The game day staff, they don't take a single inning off. This is the best ticket in town for the summer and becoming one of the best tickets in the whole IBL.
And Emily Thompson, who is freezing downstairs, she's wearing a winter coat tonight. She does just a spectacular job.
Right on.
Bringing the energy. I don't know how she has that much energy. She's just naturally like that. I've seen her away from the ballpark. That's just Emily.
No, it's not an act. This is, you got to be wired a little differently to manage as much fun as the fans have here, but Emily's up to the task.
Gonzalez up the middle. Gravel got a piece of it. Not quite enough to be able to turn and make the play. And Raul Gonzalez on with a single.
Stepping up to the plate, the catcher, number 48.
Again, nice range shown from Cam Gravel. That was hit right up the middle. Gravel got over there, but Matt just didn't have enough time to be able to knock that ball down and turn it back to Bernardo at first.
And if you're going to hit a ball on the ground, especially if you're a runner of Gonzalez's speed, that's what you want to do. Hit it right up the middle, make it as hard as possible to get thrown out. And Colby Ring snake-bitten once again by some soft contact, yet getting on base.
Oh, Gonzalez got read like a book that time. What a throw from Andrew Johnston. He recognized it and delivered it on to Gravel, who gets a little bit of revenge.
Gonzalez wasn't fooling anybody there. Johnston was out of his crouch before he was even halfway to second base. Great read all around defensively by the Cardinals.
Gravel was standing there with the ball in his glove waiting for him. Ring breaking ball, and that one, again, it looked like it slipped out of his hand. Ring almost looks like he's having some trouble with his fingers coming off the baseball. Ring will wind and deliver, and that one will come in low. 3-0 is the count. Junior Ibarra, who started things off in the bottom of the second for the Panthers. He had a single before being retired on a fielder's choice. And he is going to get back on base here with a walk. That is the third free pass issued by Ring, as Spencer Voisin will step in.
And if you want to count hit by pitches as a free pass, then that's 4.
Good point.
More of the same, unfortunately, of what has plagued Colby this season, and his stuff is far too good to not believe in the arm and the talent, and the Cardinals do. And I'm sure they'll be working with him should he be back next year. There's potential there, but finding the strike zone hasn't been easy for him.
No, and last season it looked like Ring was going to really burst onto the scene in the IPL. And, Matt, it just feels like he's never quite gotten to where he needed to be this season. It just feels a little off balance right from the go.
Yeah, and if you've watched him, you know that it's been close.
Voisin will send this one into center field. Tyler Duncan for 2 away. Yeah, you're right. It has been on numerous occasions where you really feel like Colby Ring is getting there, and well, this isn't what we want to see. As Colby Ring on the hill. Unusual that time that the umpire was the first man out.
They must have noticed something right away after that pitch to Voisin. Team trainer Carlo Cardelli out there with Chris Piano in a huddle meeting on the infield. Thankfully, it looks like Colby's staying in on a non-contact thing with a pitcher, and anytime the trainer comes out of the dugout that fast, it's not a good sign, but thankfully, he seems to be all right.
Yeah, looks like Ring is going to remain in the ballgame as Carthy will step in. Reached on a fielder's choice last time around, came around to score. And it's a baseball that came from somewhere that ended up in the backstop. Where'd that come from?
That's a great question. I was looking down toward the bullpen.
As Carthy Shoots that one straight up the elevator shaft. Stephen Whalen comes on and says, mine, and that will retire the side as the Panthers will leave a man stranded, and the Cardinals will have the bats in their hands when we return for the bottom of the third inning.
You know what that means? It's time for another giveaway! Oh, come on! Don't worry, guys. Lots more to come. Keep up that energy. I'm coming for you.
Ryan Burnside back on the bump for the bottom of the third inning. Cardinals trailing the Panthers by a 2-0 score. All the damage happened in the bottom of the second inning. Matt, the Cardinals have been flirting with it a little bit. They've had Duncan over to third base on a triple, and they just haven't quite been able to bring anybody across so far tonight.
No doubt the triple from Duncan and the leadoff base hit by Cam Gravel have been encouraging signs for the Cardinals so far, working on piecing it all together and getting on the board here against the catcher/pitcher, Ryan Burnside.
As Brendan Daly will step in. Daly, who I've said it before, has been a bit of a revelation for the Cardinals on the season. Hitting .254, but Matt, even more impressively than what he's done at the plate has been his positional versatility.
Absolutely. You feel like you can slot Daly just about anywhere and feel comfortable.
Burnside misses outside 1-0. Tonight playing left field in the playoffs, likely to see him all over the diamond at various times. Especially if Danny Berg is available, which, if you're going Berg, Duncan, DeBanning, easily one of the best outfields in the IPL.
Yeah, the Cardinals will have the advantage that way.
And Daly will up the average as he rips the ball into left field for a single to open the inning.
I'll tell you one thing, Reed. Daly, the past week or so, has been working like you wouldn't believe on his swing. He's been showing up early to batting practice. He's been taking more swings than anybody else. He's just absolutely locked in, doing whatever he can right now to get his swing better, and that, I can tell you, is exactly what he was trying to do in batting practice. Low line drives, catching it out front. Beautiful piece of hitting by Daly, getting to that inside pitch, which he struggled to do the past few games.
Young man who's come through the Cardinals system and has the potential to be a homegrown difference maker. As Raquelbin DeCastro will step in. He's been impressive since arriving with the Cardinals, both for his defense and hitting .295 as he makes the adjustment to the IBL.
One of the first things you notice about DeCastro is his reckless abandon at the plate. He does not have much at all in the way of plate discipline, but the more you watch him, the more you realize it doesn't really matter. That doesn't have to be his game because the bat-to-ball skills are tremendous. Anything on the ground is a circus because of how fast he runs. He can hurt you in more ways than one.
Burnside delivers. DeCastro fouling this one back over the fence and just a little down to our right. And that's a nice souvenir, as I think it actually got down the staircase and has caused a bit of a stampede.
That was a close call. That's one of the closest baseballs we've had hit toward this booth, Reed. Keep your head on a swivel.
Can't think of too many that have come closer than that one. A couple that have been up off the roof, but in those cases you feel pretty safe. DeCastro reaches out. He'll flare it into right. Falling quickly, but not enough. One away. And that will bring Cam Gravel back to the plate, who singled and then was caught stealing his first time around.
Cam, of course, is part of the large contingent of Cardinals that will be going off to school in the fall. This is his last game, and I believe the same goes for Josh Niles, who isn't starting tonight, but both of them will be going their separate ways.
Gravel whips this one into center field, but again, a little bit too much underneath it. McTagg able to get over, and 2 away, which will bring Tyler Duncan up, who tripled his first time to the plate.
Number 5, Tyler Duncan.
Tyler Duncan is at the end of another very successful season for the Cardinals. I don't think he's the MVP front runner, but nonetheless, OPS over 900, slugging over 500, on base over 400, and he's batting .330 on the season. Just another fantastic year for the Cardinals frontman.
Yeah, 333 is the updated stat line after the triple.
Right on, Duncan. And I think that last at bat in the first inning that ended in a triple showcases why he is a pitcher's worst nightmare. Just a fantastic combination of an eye and a propensity to do damage on the most hittable pitches.
Duncan
like
hammers this one into center field. And McTagg will come up throwing to third, which will stop Gravel at second. But Duncan now 2 for 2, as in the last game of the season. He's going to continue to climb that average up towards 340.
And another thing, too, about Duncan is that this year he's had to grow a lot as a hitter, which people might not realize. But after you win MVP, you don't get any pitches to hit. Tyler has been, the pitchers have just been pounding the outside corner, low and away against him, not getting good pitches to hit at all, but he's adapting his swing to take what he's given. And if he can do damage on the pitches that are supposed to be safe for the pitcher, then look out.
Tyler Duncan and Jonathan Salazzo may have to start a club about the no pitches club, because neither one of those guys get anything that they can turn, and if somebody makes a mistake, it's long gone. As Burnside will wind and deliver. Oh, what a catch! Bernardo looked to rocket that one back up the middle. Burnside flashed his glove like a goaltender, snagged it, and he's stinging a little bit as he walks off the field, but again, able to avoid the damage being done. And we will be back with the top of the 4th inning right after this.
Sometimes the littlest things can make the biggest difference. Like nature brightening your day. Bring nature to your backyard with Armstrong Bird Food. Feeding Cardinals since 19...
Colby Ring looking to cruise through in the top of the 4th. Got back to more so the way he wanted it in the top of the 3rd inning. And he wants to get the bats back into the Cardinals' hands as quickly as possible. Matt, they started to find some success there. In fact, all of their last 6 outs have been pretty good contact. But they just haven't been able to put base hits back to back to back and drive anything across.
I would look for the Cardinals to score a run next inning. The kind of contact that they got off of Ryan Burnside in the bottom half of the third is a great indicator that they're seeing him very well and that it's only a matter of time before that goose egg is no more.
Yeah, and there's nobody throwing in either bullpen. So the Panthers more than willing to let Burnside continue on here. And Colby Ring, until further notice, is in control of this game for the Cardinals.
Well, that second inning was long and arduous for Colby, but a nice, smooth first inning and a nice, smooth third inning have him in position to maybe get some more outs here and save that bullpen just a little bit more. Every out counts at this time of year, especially with the playoffs coming in short order.
Yeah, Ring just approaching 50 pitches in the fourth inning, so not bad.
Not at all.
As that one will run outside. As you said, Matt, earlier on, we know at some point we're going to see Kate Kozak.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how much work does he have to do, and do the Cardinals need anybody behind him?
I believe everybody else is qualified for the roster, which is nice, so they only have to worry about Kozak.
As Carosa swings through to put this count at 2-2.
I was talking earlier about Colby Ring's struggles working inside the left-handed hitters. Well, he's done a great job against Carosis in this AB so far.
Carosis hitting .232 on the season, and Ring will get him swinging for his first strikeout of the ballgame. There's a confidence builder. As Nathan Laird will step in.
Stepping up to the plate, right fielder number 14, Nathan Laird.
Laird had the sac fly RBI in the in the top of the second inning. Laird followed by McTagg. Anybody gets on, Spencer Ross is behind that combination. There's a pretty good breeze starting to blow into Bernie Arbor Stadium, and this ball popped high, and on the run is Luis Bernardo. How about the legs on Bernardo?
I did not know that Luis had that in him, and that's a fantastic play. Not only do you have to keep up speed-wise, but that over-the-shoulder play in foul ground is, I think, a play that doesn't get talked about enough, is arguably the toughest play in baseball. Great job by Bernardo to stick with it. You'd think that he's been a first baseman his whole life with a play like that.
Like he was playing in the backyard, just over the shoulder, basket catch, put it in the bucket.
Made it look so easy.
McTagg will step in. Walked his last time around. Swing at the first offering from Colby Ring. Ring trying to paint the outside edge, and Ben Mercier, the plate umpire, will not give it to him.
You can definitely see Colby working with a little more confidence and gusto now that he's got a few quick outs under his belt.
Ring winds and delivers. Gets McTagg swinging through it. I think that strikeout of Carosis put a bit of a fire under the backside of Colby Ring.
It looks like it has. And that right there is a great pitch to McTagg.
Ring delivers. Gets him swinging. Colby Ring. Pair of Ks in the inning. And now the Langley lefty starting to feel it. Cardinals, bats in their hands. Bottom of the fourth right after this.
The end of the bottom of the fourth inning. Now let's check back in with our good friend, Emily.
Fans, we want to see your selfies. Take a picture if you enjoyed tonight's game. Take us at Hamilton Cardinals for your chance to win tickets to a playoff game.
It's Hamilton Cardinals Tuesday Night Baseball, and you're watching along on YouTube as the Cardinals battling the Kitchener Panthers. Last game of this regular season, and Dennis DeBanning stepping in to open up the bottom of the fourth inning. Out of town, no score thus far, and I stand corrected. It has been updated. The bottom of the third, the Guelph Royals have taken a 2-0 lead over the London Majors in their ball game. Top of the first in Brantford, and no score with the Barrie Baycats. Guelph and London going back-to-back against one another to close out this regular season.
Yeah, and this is the thing that you have to remember watching this game. Both these teams, Hamilton and Kitchener, are locked into their spot in the standings. It's the out-of-town scoreboard that matters a lot more in terms of determining who the Cardinals are going to play in the playoffs. And basically the way it shakes out is if London and Guelph split those next two games between each other, the Cardinals are going to get London in the playoffs, unless Brantford pulls off the upset against Barrie, in which case the Cardinals will get Barrie. If London wins both those games, the Cardinals will get Barrie. If Guelph wins both those games, the Cardinals will get Guelph. So there's lots to still be decided here in scoreboard watching season, Reed.
2-1 right now to Dennis DeBanning. It's Arias for London and Thomas for Guelph in that ball game. As DeBanning sends this one high into left field. And that one is not going to fall quick enough as Jordan Carthy comes running on. And that's one away. Tanner Rempel will step in. Kahn going for Barrie. Aiden Armitage pitched to open for the Brantford Red Sox. And he's still going in the ball game. Gus Wilson, though, has come out of that ball game for Brantford. It's the majority of the starting lineup as well for the Baycats, as Tanner Rempel steps in.
I'm sure
to second earlier on.
Yeah, I'm sure Barrie likes their chances no matter what, but they are still technically playing for second place, so makes sense that they've got their regulars in that game against Brantford.
Rempel on the ground, backhanded over at short by Carosis. Delivers it on to first. Nicely done as Misa climbs up, 2 away.
The Panthers have a sneaky good defense up the middle with Spencer Ross and A.J. Carosis. That's a tough throw to make after picking the ball on your backhand and being flat-footed, but he fired an absolute seed over there.
Yeah, I thought that one might sneak through. And now Andrew Johnston hit into a fielder's choice earlier on. That was back in the bottom of the second inning. As Ryan Burnside, he's flirted with danger a couple of times, but nothing too serious thus far. Really the triple to Duncan. And then in the bottom of the third, Daly and Duncan at first and second, but that's been about it.
And this has been the smoothest inning for Burnside, too, up to this point. Both in terms of efficiency and the amount of loud contact he's given up.
2-1 the count. Andrew Johnston has the power to be able to change things with one flick of his wrists. Saw it on the screamer he sent into the silver seats earlier on. Down right field.
Now, Johnston, one of the youngest players on this team, but when he gets into one, it goes as far as almost anyone on the Cardinals roster can put it. Tons of pop in that swing. He had a massive day at Toronto a few weeks ago. Multiple home runs and a ton of RBI in that one, too.
Hammered another one foul right field side. Of course, Bernie Arbor Stadium, one of the hardest ballparks in the IBL to put it out of. 420 to dead ahead center field. As Burnside winds and delivers, Johnston again Sends that one on a rope, but way out foul.
And if this AB is any indication, if Johnson can fire one of those out in fair territory, there's a decent chance that we might have one of those rare out-of-the-park homers at Bernie Arbor.
Burnside winds and delivers on the full count. That one comes in low. Johnston, catcher's eye, draws the walk to bring up Stephen Whalen. Cardinals looking for a little two-out production.
Stepping up to the plate, the third baseman, number 27, Stephen Whalen.
Cardinals just need something positive at the plate here, Matt, to get themselves feeling good.
Yeah, right on.
Colby Ring has stepped right back into it on the hill. Offense needing to pick him up a little bit after the two crossed the plate in the top of the second.
And no doubt Colby brought himself another inning after that last fourth inning. He seemed to kick it into high gear for that one. Couple of big strikeouts and working like the Colby Ring that we all know is in there somewhere.
If he finds it for playoff time, it adds another very dangerous weapon as Whalen loops this one foul. And a couple of fans over there trying to bring that ball. Oh, they got it. They got it. Look like it clattered off somebody's palm.
Players have been keeping the spectators on their toes here just because this is a game that will have absolutely no effect on the standings. Doesn't mean that the fans shouldn't be locked in on every pitch.
No, and the fans have been lively when the Cardinals have started to threaten. They've gotten behind Colby Ring as well in this ball game. Cardinals could really get a jump out of this crowd if they can give them a little something here with two outs.
They have got to be freezing too. Let's give them a few runs.
Johnston taking off on the 0-2, and he's in. And he's going to have to dive back to second as Johnston thought about third. The big fella slides back in safely, and that's going to draw a chuckle from both Stephen Whalen and Junior Ibarra at home plate.
Ibarra's got a cannon, but I'm not sure if he was expecting to have to use it with Andrew Johnson on first base, and that almost turned into a little bit of a circus play with the throw sailing into center field, but Johnston will be content with just the 90 feet and get himself in a scoring position.
I really think he surprised him. Oh, great frame again from Ibarra, but he's not able to buy it. Well, there's a reason why Junior Ibarra is thought of as one of the elite defensive catchers in the IPL. He very easily could have bought that third strike right there. 2-2 the count. Whalen fights that one off, staying alive in this at-bat. That is a sound effect, folks. That is a sound effect. At least I'm like 95% sure it's a sound effect.
You can't fully dismiss it even if it is a sound effect, because we have heard countless stories throughout the summer of cars just getting pelted out in the Bernie Arbor parking lot.
I think I parked far enough away, I should be all right. As Whalen again staying alive in the at-bat, and the Speedy Glass song is on a loop in my head just at the moment for where that one went.
I think this AB right now is seeing where Stephen Whalen really shines. He will not give in whatsoever.
Battling away. He was 0-2, now 2-2. Has fouled off a pair. Sends this one. It is a fair ball. I don't think Whalen thought it was fair. Over to make the stab at first base. Nolan Misa flipped it on to Burnside. Side is retired, bit of bad luck there for the Cardinals as Whalen thought he'd fouled another away, but the Cardinals will head back to the field when we return for the top of 5.
Thank you to Boston Pizza, Summermont location, for their generous support that makes our game day even more unforgettable. Visit Boston Pizza. Stepping up to the
We
first,
set
second
for the
base,
top of the 5th inning
Spencer Ross.
as Spencer Ross will stride his way in. Cardinals trailing the Panthers by a 2-0 score. And Spencer Ross has flown out to Cam Gravel at second base and walked. That was in the top of the 2nd. His 3rd time facing Colby Ring tonight, and Ring delivers a first pitch ball.
And by and large, Colby Ring has done a fine job tonight. We'll see if this 3rd time through the order snake bites him a little bit.
And that's going to run the count to 2-0 as Johnston bats it down.
That whole 3rd time through the order thing is a curse for even the best pitchers in no matter what league it is. Colby has not completed 5 innings in a start yet this year. The farthest he's gone is 4, so trying to reach a little bit of a personal milestone today as well. Ow.
Ball bounced up off the face mask of Andrew Johnston, who's waiting for someone to answer the phone that is only audible to him.
And in true catcher fashion, he is not phased one bit.
He's waiting for somebody in the dugout to answer the phone. He'll be fine. 3-0 the count, and Ross is going to take the walk. And that'll put one on with Nolan Misa, who's grounded out 4-3 and flown out to Dennis Tabanek.
20, Nolan Misa.
And as Matt has mentioned a couple of times so far, we know Cade Kozak is going to come out of the bullpen at some point in this ball game. So just kind of keeping one eye down that way to see when he starts warming up. Johnston thought about throwing back with Ross kind of sneaking his way off first base there. Misa thought about laying down a bunt. Was able to pull back, 1-0 the count. Ring this time does turn it over to first, and Bernardo with the scoop.
So I mentioned earlier in going over the scenarios for the Hamilton Cardinals, these playoffs, how the Brantford Red Sox could really wreak havoc tonight if they beat the Barrie Baycats. Well, it's the top of the 3rd, so it's early, but they are winning 1-0 over Barrie down at Arnold Anderson for each of those teams' final games of the regular season, which, again, could have a massive ripple effect on the playoff bracket.
London has struck in that ball game. It's 2-1 now in the top of the 5th inning. Guelph still with the lead. As Ring delivers, Johnston up, and he's got another one. Oh, again, Andrew Johnston just brilliant from behind the plate as he puts it right to Cam Gravel, one away.
He's feeling himself right now. That was a fantastic throw. It wasn't like it was a crazy premature jump or anything like the Raul Gonzalez play a couple innings ago, but Johnston still elite pop time there. Guns Ross right down.
Think about the options the Cardinals have had behind the plate this season as Misa spins this foul. And that'll run it to 2-2. Bernardo, a lead arm from behind the plate. Rempel, a lead arm from behind the plate. Hicks, a lead arm from behind the plate. Johnston, are we seeing a pattern?
We just might be, and next season they're going to have 4 quality catchers on the roster, if you can believe that.
Well, at least nobody will be tired as the ball up the middle. Gravel charges, quick transition, great play! Cam Gravel shows the range, shows the skill as he goes glove to bare hand and the quick twist
Stepping up to the plate,
over to Luis Bernardo.
Raul Gonzalez.
Ground out goes an impressive 4-3.
Cam Gravel trying to go out on a high note for his Cardinals season. Couple flashy, dramatic plays over there at second. Quite a curtain call for the young man in the field for this regular season finale.
Raul Gonzalez steps in. Grounded out to Stephen Whalen. Singled in the top of the 3rd, but was caught stealing on the first impressive Andrew Johnston toss. And Ring will fall behind 2-0.
As you said, Reed Gonzalez has been one of the best hitters in the IBL for some time now, and he is leading all the key figures offensively for Kitchener this year. But against these Cardinals, he's got an OPS under 400 this year, so not much in the way of production for him. against Hamilton.
And an ejection at this park earlier this season when
That's right.
he disagreed with a strike call. A little too vociferously. In fact, bounced his batting helmet off home plate. And it was actually the helmet off home plate which earned the ejection. The umpire that night had actually walked away from him up the third baseline, was letting Raul kind of have his say, and then heard the helmet, turned around and tossed him.
Yeah, there's not many things that'll get you automatically ejected, but an equipment bounce off the ground, whether it's in the umpire's general direction or not, that'll do it more often than not.
Gonzalez earns the walk that time. He'll go over and have a conversation with Luis Bernardo. And Junior Ibarra, single and a walk so far in the ball game for him. Ring delivers. Johnson had to pop up. 1-0. I think Johnston keeping an eye in case Gonzalez decides he wants to try it again. I'm not sure that he's itching to test the arm again.
No, he'll be much more conservative this time around.
Ibarra, weak contact. Bernardo backs up off first. 2 walks, but again, Colby Ring navigates his way through it, and the Cardinals will have the bats in their hands as Ring delivers them 5 innings thus far. They'll try to give him some offense behind it next. Bottom of the 5th inning as we roll along with Tuesday night baseball action. Hamilton Cardinals YouTube channel with our production crew of Cable 14. Everybody gets involved in this. We're on YouTube for the Cardinals. We got Cable 14. And of course, this is the makeup game from Friday night when Matt and myself and the entire Cardinals team really had to swim home. As Ryan Burnside continuing on here into the bottom of the 5th inning. The regular catcher really showing. Now, Matt, you mentioned earlier on, you know he can pitch, but really been impressive.
Yeah, and sometimes when it's game 42 and you're making lineup decisions that you wouldn't normally make just to preserve yourself for the playoffs, you end up finding out some things that you might not have known before. And tonight we're finding out that Ryan Burnside can position himself at either end of the battery between pitcher and catcher and do just fine. He has given up his fair share of hard contact, and it hasn't been all smooth sailing, but there is still a goose egg up on that scoreboard, and I'd say he's done a valiant job tonight.
Daly rockets this one, which caught a piece of Burnside, just enough to deflect it on to Ross at second base, who delivers it over to Misa, and it's just not quite gone right for the Cardinals with the sticks.
Shortstop number 1, Kelvin Castro.
Mentioned earlier about how Daly has been working on getting to that inside pitch, putting in a ton of extra hours to try and shore up his swing, and that time he got what he wanted, too. It was another hard hit ball, low line drive back up the middle, but that ball catching a piece of Burnside probably slowed it down is the reason that he's out at first.
Burnside trying to work away and starting to lose the control of it just a little bit. Again, not only is there nobody warming up for the Panthers in the bullpen, there's nobody down there. As DeCastro puts this one on the ground, backhanded in the hole and delivered on to first from A.J. Carosis, 2 away. And even when contact has been given up by Burnside, the combination of Ross and Carosis at second and short has just been excellent. Cam Gravel has singled and flown out to center field. As Burnside will deliver, and he'll get strike one. I don't know if I can ever remember seeing this, Matt, in a game where it's not just that there's nobody warming up. There's nobody down there. There's nobody down there if they wanted to warm up.
And Kitchener being where they are and having their matchup locked in for sure, they have no incentive really to keep their cards close to their chest. They need Ryan Burnside to eat some innings here. They don't care if they're showing their hand or anything as far as the bullpen goes. He is out there for one reason and one reason only, to make sure that they have the most optimal pitching staff that they can going into the playoffs. And he's done a great job.
And he's going to get out of this inning as well. Ball on the ground. Misa back to Burnside. 3-1 to the end of the 5th inning. We'll be back with the top of 6. Cardinals in the field.
As we head to the top of the 6th inning. Well, let's check back in with our good friend Emily.
It is time for the Midvale Auto Tire Race. Are we excited down there, boys? You guys look ready to go. Fun fact, these two are brothers, Mateo and Cruz, and I heard they're like famous brothers in Hamilton, which is pretty cool. Now I got Hunter here, who is my cheerleader for the guys, which is a cool thing. Now Hunter, if you were going to bet on your friend, what tire is not across the tail, Hunter? Yellow. Ooh, yellow. All right, boys, you ready? We're going to go back here. Let me see your thumbs up. All right, on your mark. Get set. Roll. Here we go. We're tied so far. That is quick and back to the social media account. Congrats, brothers. You're both going home a winner.
Hey there, fans. This 6th inning is presented by Sabermetrics, proud sponsor of your Hamilton Cardinals.
Colby Ring matched a season best, or I said a season best, by getting through 5 innings last time around. Now trying to make it 6. And a little change in the field, Matt, as Luis Bernardo has seen the end of his regular season. Josh Niles will step in over at first base.
Yeah, and good on the Cardinals here to get Josh his last bit of game action before he goes back off to Canisius in the fall.
Your Hamilton Cardinals, number 30, Josh Niles.
And I got to imagine that the Cardinals will be very happy next season when they don't have to worry about losing him right before the playoffs.
Right on. It's a headache that you would love to not have to go through, especially in a year where you're chasing a championship.
But I'm sure that we will all wish Josh very well, and hopefully has a blast of a season at Canisius and returns with all kinds of momentum.
Absolutely. Real stand-up guy. He's been around this team for a long time. Nothing really phases him. He's seen a lot in this game, and we love having him here in Hamilton.
Another guy who I believe he's come through the junior system, right?
I don't know. That would have been before me. I've only started here this year trying to brush up on my historical knowledge of the Cards, but wouldn't shock me.
I could be wrong. I could be misremembering, and just that he's been here a while at this point. He goes back to the summer of 2021 with the Cardinals. So I'm sticking with it until I'm proven wrong.
As you should.
Don't get me wrong, I'm willing to be incorrect, but
Until there's evidence to suggest.
that's right. I'm going with homegrown talent because, again, this is the 4th season for Niles with the Cardinals. 2-2. Right now the count to Spencer Voisin leading this inning off for the Panthers. Just a little low that time from Ring.
And that's one of those times where catcher Andrew Johnston is going to tell Colby, hey, good miss. Breaking ball down and away to a lefty. Just couldn't get him to swing. It happens.
Oh, Ring got him staring at that one. Came right back to it.
Caesar strikeout for Hunter.
Colby Ring with his 3rd strikeout of the ball game. Everybody's waiting for the pizzas to go flying by. Great partnership with Little Caesars. The donations for every strikeout to Mission Services. And Ring opening up. Jordan Carthy with a strike. So Ring looking to maneuver his way through this 6th inning, and you can add a couple more strikeouts, a little bit more wind in the sails. I think it'd go a long way for Colby Ring.
Yeah, and if he gets through the 6th inning, again, there have been command issues. I think he's up to 5 walks on the day. Couple, or no, maybe just the 1 hit by pitch. So he's been battling it today, no question, but tightroping out of trouble, getting his fair share of strikeouts and weak contact as well. I don't really think the Panthers can say they've squared a ball up today. A lot of good things for Colby to take away from this one. And again, perhaps gaining the trust of his coaching staff at the perfect time.
And taking the walk that time is Carthy. As we get a note from Josh behind us that Brett Reed has begun to warm up for the Kitchener Panthers. And it is a lonely situation down there in the Kitchener bullpen, as it's literally just Brett Reed and one other member of the Panthers team playing long toss. And Colby Ring will open up the at-bat to A.J. Carosas with a strike. Carthy on base for the 2nd time in the ball game.
Whatever happened to team spirit? I'm not sure how many coaches would let that fly. Just one lone guy out in the bullpen.
It got cold.
It did get cold. There is that. Everybody huddled up under that dugout.
I want my shoulder to freeze, Coach. I got to stay down here with a big jacket. I'd be doing the same thing if I was down there. As 3-1 the count. As Carosas trying to make Ring deliver him a strike here. And, pardon me, it was 2-1 the count.
That's on me, Reed. I am the emergency scoreboard operator today. I can't seem to find my way out of doing some emergency backup related task this season.
Well, that's how you ended up here with me. Ball in on Carosas, and
I think that's ball 4. No? Ball 3? Okay. The ump threw up 4 fingers to the mound, but
yeah, I was getting confused with Mercier's signals there. Okay, now he's got 3-1.
oh boy, what have I done?
No, I think he had us. I think you're right. I think he had us fooled there momentarily. As Ring delivers on 3-1, and he'll lose Carosas. So Carthy moves up to 2nd, Carosas to 1st. One away in this inning, and Nathan Laird will step in. Laird has a sac fly to center field. It was an RBI and a pop out to first base at the time, Luis Bernardo. So runners on 1st and 2nd with 1 away. And Ring has been all around the zone thus far in the at-bats to Carthy, and Carosis now opening to Laird, but hasn't been getting the strike call.
I'm sure the Panthers had it in their game plan, knowing Colby to be patient today and make him find the zone. Of course, as it goes, if the harder of a time you have finding the zone as a pitcher, the less likely you are to get those called strikes on the corner. Kitchener trying to use that to their advantage.
A warm-up pitch down in the Cardinals bullpen got away, and it came a long way into the backstop. Saw that one out of the corner of my eye.
It looks like Keeler Loveridge down there warming up for the Cardinals.
So will we see Loveridge as the first man out? As this one shot through the infield, DeBanning in right field has it skip past him. It's going to score at least one, perhaps two, as the relay coming home is not going to make it. As Carthy and Carosis come around on the double by Laird, and being told it's going to be charged as a single and then an error, which makes a lot of sense. As DeBanning watching it to his glove, and I don't know, Matt, if he took his eye off of it and it just skipped past him. As the bag's clear.
Error aside, that's a beautiful inside-out swing there from Laird. Taking what he's given and shooting it the other way into right field. Nice line drive base hit. Good piece of hitting there, and he gets rewarded with a couple extra RBIs following the E9. He's been a force in that 8 slot today with 3 of the 4 RBIs on the night for Kitchener so far.
McTagg steps in. Walked his first time up. Struck out his second. And Colby Ring having some trouble just at the moment finding the zone. Cardinals are going to have their work cut out for them when they get the bats back. That 2-0 lead has inflated to 4. As Ring again delivers low.
And that's the unfortunate thing about it is Colby right now seems to be a little rattled by the string of base runners here. As a pitcher, you got to have a short memory and not let what has happened up to this point in the inning affect what happens going forward.
And again, missing high. And Keeler Loveridge maybe accelerated a little bit here with 2 on and 1 out, with 2 already across, or pardon me, 1 on, 1 out, and 2 already across in this inning. Ring will find it there to run the count full to McTagg. Also, Matt, a couple moments ago, I saw what likely threw you off with Ben Mercier behind the plate. When he went to give a new ball to Andrew Johnston, instead of holding his palm up, he held 4 fingers.
That's
to the
what
pitcher.
I was saying. I saw the 4 fingers.
Yeah,
and
I've never seen that before. He doesn't hold up like a stop sign, like you'd see your third base coach put on. He's holding up the 4 fingers with his thumb tucked in. So that definitely would throw us off, especially after we saw what we thought was a walk, and he put the 4 fingers up.
It threw the runner on first off, too.
And that one just off the edge, and McTagg lost down to first. And I believe we have seen the end of the outing here for Colby Ring as Chris Piano comes out. Keeler Loveridge is going to start to make his way in. And yeah, Colby Ring is going to make his way out. It was the pair of walks in this inning. He started it off with the strikeout to Voisin, but after that, Matt, he just couldn't consistently hit that strike zone.
Yeah, and again, there are good things for Colby to take away from this. 5 1/3 is the longest outing he has had to this point in the season, but no matter how many strikeouts you can rack up, no matter how deep you can pitch into the game, it is tough to get around 6 walks and a hit by pitch. The Panthers ultimately did what they had to do tonight at the plate in terms of discipline and showed a great awareness of the kind of guy they were facing on the mound. I don't think Colby did himself necessarily any disservice tonight with the outing that he had in terms of trying to prove himself as a guy they could go to for a spot start in a playoff game. But as it has been with him all season, the talent and the arm and the potential is all very, very apparent. The command issues, though, were just too big for him to avoid in this one.
Yeah, and you wonder just a little bit about that error from Dennis DeBanning. If that ball gets to the Cardinals' right fielder, it likely cuts off one of those 2 runs.
Yeah.
And instead, because it got in behind him, both runs came across to score. Neil Srivastawa, who our wonderful broadcast colleague. Neil, know you're getting better there at the home front. Great to have you joining us by text message here. Brantford up 2-0 on Barrie in the bottom of the 3rd. The Brantford Red Sox are trying to throw a wrench into everybody's playoff plans, while the London Majors trailed the Guelph Royals by a 2-1 score in the top of 6. That is essentially a playoff game.
Yeah, it is. And right on, Reed, we would like to once again extend our thanks to Neil Srivastawa for, he's not here physically, but he is not taking a day off at all and joining us virtually on this broadcast crew and giving us all the intel. I had a feeling something crazy was going to happen today with all this scoreboard watching, and Brantford having the early lead on Barrie is certainly something that will affect the playoff matchups for up to 4 different teams in the IBL table.
Unbelievable. The only team that's going to be left out of the playoff structure holds the fate of the rest of the league in the palm of their hand right now.
Well, if you've got nothing to play for yourself, why not try and watch the world burn?
That's that old saying, some people just want to watch the world burn. Well, Matt Fabian, Gus Wilson and company are currently working the kindling as Keeler Loveridge, speaking of kindling, he comes out of the pen just throwing smoke. Gets ahead, first pitch strike on Ross. Loveridge winds and delivers. That one runs outside. Looked like Loveridge didn't have a great landing with his front foot on that pitch.
And I noticed when trainers briefly came out to check on Colby, he was kind of kicking at the bottom of that mound. Maybe there's a bit of uneven earth there. It's providing a tough situation for the pitchers to land with their front foot.
Loveridge came in with that one low, 2-1. Keeler Loveridge has been a swing guy for the Cardinals. We've seen him in the infield taking significant reps at second base, but predominantly a pitcher. As Loveridge delivers and Ross fouls that one back, almost took out the camera. 2-2.
Loveridge, of course, will be going back to school in Calgary with the Dinos this fall. Him and former Cardinal reliever Alex Lanigan. Representing the IBL out west during the school year.
Alex Lanigan with the Toronto Maple Leafs at current as Ross fouls this one off. Tough decisions made at the deadline. I know the Lanigan one not easy. He was brilliant for the Cardinals last year, but there was a lot of movement in that bullpen, Matt, and some significant veteran arms added, plus Hospital and Cameron at Niagara University, and at some point something had to give.
Yeah, it's never easy to try and make all the pieces fit in that puzzle, but luckily for Lanigan, Toronto's been on quite the heater lately. They look dangerous going into the playoffs.
Well, that's a veteran team that you had to think, Matt, at some point, with the talent that they have, we're going to say, okay, we can settle this thing down and get something together here.
Well, it's one of the biggest mysteries of the season, right? Or at least it was in the first half, because it's easy to forget, they took the eventual champion Welland Jackfish to Game 5 of the semis last year. And with basically the exact same roster they have now. So it was puzzling as to why they got off to such a slow start, but things appear to be evening out the way they should be for those Leafs.
Castaldo, Salazzo, Vinicio, the Maras. I mean, there's just so much talent there. It had to come around at some point. Spencer Ross with a little excuse me play. Gravel quick on to second. Ball out of the glove of Raquelbin de Castro. Cardinals won't get an out of it. Bad luck strikes. Gravel quick turn had de Castro at second. I don't know if, as he was trying to put the tag on McTagg, if they just kind of bumped into one another and the ball came out.
A little check swing grounder is always a tough play, but if you're Gravel, and he is an unbelievable defender over there at second base, but I think that is a case of someone getting too greedy to try and get the lead runner. His body and his momentum was taking him to make the play at first. You don't want to have two runners in scoring position. I totally see what he's thinking, but you can't try and force the issue, and anytime there's a sure out in front of you, you're best off taking it.
Misa will shoot this one foul to quickly fall behind. I'm sure Loveridge was thinking, I'm going to have an out there. Now has to regroup with the bases loaded.
Well, at least he's got the play on at any base now.
As Misa slaps this into right field. DeBanning's going to come up with the ball. He'll send it home. Niles pops up, and the single from Misa will score a run. And on the RBI, it will keep everybody on base. Nowhere to go for the Cardinals right now. 5-0 the score. As Laird that time comes around. McTagg up to third. Ross to second. And Gonzalez at the plate. And Loveridge over the plate, 1-1. So again, a defensive miscue when Gravel tried to go to second instead of first, costing the Cardinals there. Gonzalez on the ground. Whalen over to it, but the ball's going to run foul. I think in that spot, the Cardinals might have wanted that one, Matt, to be fair. Whalen could have just come right home.
It's possible, but the runner did have a good lead from third. It would have been a scary situation at the plate. And we talked earlier about the man at the plate right now, Raul Gonzalez, and his struggles against Hamilton, but you do not want to discount this man with the bases loaded by any stretch.
As Gonzalez flares that one back over the broadcast location. Loveridge looks into Johnston. Delivers and tried to get Gonzalez chasing high, 2-2. Not a bad idea there from Loveridge. See if you can get Gonzalez swinging away.
No, and you can see from Gonzalez's body language there, even though he didn't attempt to swing, he was tempted.
Gonzalez on the ground. Loveridge knocks it down, but it's going to roll away, and Gonzalez will have an RBI single. The bad luck continuing right now for the Cardinals as it looked like Loveridge was going to climb the ladder and at least get one in that. So it'll be McTagg coming home. Ross up to third. Misa to second. And the RBI single puts Gonzalez on first. And Junior Ibarra is the ninth batter of this inning. And Loveridge runs that inside.
feels like all season the Cardinals have been bitten by some terrible batted ball luck, and the Panthers have seen their pitches this inning, no doubt, but they have not squared the ball up nearly enough to qualify for 4 runs, in my humble opinion.
Ball on the ground. Gravel quickly onto DeCastro for 1. Back to Niles, and they will get out of it as Loveridge induces the double play, going 4-6-3. Cardinals, though, have their work cut out for them. Bats in their hands for the bottom of the 6th when we return.
On the Power Athletic Massage out-of-town scoreboard, in Guelph, the Royals will lead the majors 2-1 in the top of the 6th inning. And in Brantford, the Red Sox will lead the Baycats by a score of 2-0 in the top of the 4th inning.
Ryan Burnside returning to the hill for the bottom of the 6th inning. He's got a 6-0 lead to play with. And Matt, you can't get it all back at once. Cardinals will have to chip away a bit if they want to end this regular season with a victory, as Duncan, Niles, and DeBanning will come up in this 6th inning.
Right part of the order coming up here if you're the Cardinals, and if you're the offense, you're just looking to chip away any way you can and really keep the bat in your hands as long as possible. That last half inning between Ring and Loveridge saw the Cardinals throw 46 pitches, which for a half inning is obviously far too much, and they're going to look to give the staff a bit of a breather here with the middle of the order coming up and some runs to be scored if the Cardinals want to come back in this one.
Unfortunately for Colby Ring, he just couldn't get out of that after he got a strikeout to open the inning. Burnside falls behind Duncan 2-0. Duncan with a triple and a single in this game.
You see Burnside not really close to the zone with either of those first 2 pitches. We'll see if his stamina dwindles along with his command here.
Oh, Duncan liked that one, but flared it foul. 2-1.
Looked really similar to the pitch that Tyler took back up the middle for a line drive base hit his last time up. Just couldn't time it properly that instance. And the man that we all thought we were going to see today, Kate Kozak, is starting to warm with pretty quick intent down there in the Cardinal bullpen.
They just switched it around on us, that's all. As that one off the outside. 3-1. Cardinals have not had a lot of base runners to open an inning so far.
And that has been a key difference. The Panthers have had quite a few leadoff men reach. There we go.
And Tyler Duncan will slap this back up the middle. He's 3 for 3 in the ball game, and that's another single.
Anytime you talk about a struggling offense, Tyler Duncan's going to make you eat your words.
Well, he came into the game batting .331 on the season. That's going to get him right about, well, .341 on the official update. So another brilliant season for Tyler Duncan. And now can Josh Niles, who I've said it before, I will say it again, I believe has one of the sweetest swings in the IBL. Can he make a bit of a difference stepping into this ball game? Canisius getting a heck of a ball player. Positional versatility, and There is some serious power in that bat. Whoa! As Burnside lost the control on that one. 1-0. Dennis DeBanning behind Niles. Tanner Rempel following them. So it's a group of productive hitters through the middle of this order. As Burnside delivers, 2-0. And Matt, you wonder if at this point, Cardinals hitters might be waiting and seeing if Burnside's going to throw them a strike.
And I think patience is definitely the name of the game. The farther a starting pitcher gets into his outing, if you're the offense, I'm sure he's going to be working with a little more trepidation each successive time he goes through the order. And Josh right now is doing the right thing by making Burnside come to him.
3-0 the count. And Niles not going to have to worry about it in this at-bat. He will take the walk. It moves Duncan up to second. And with nobody out, it's 2 on for the team leader in doubles, Dennis DeBanning, hitting .284 on the year.
Well, as we've said, DeBanning has had a fantastic season for these Cardinals. And read the baseball gods giveth, and they taketh away. He's being given a chance right now, a golden opportunity to atone for that error that led to a couple of runs in the top half of the inning. But
he's going to face a different pitcher in doing it.
Yeah, we're going to have a change first.
Brett Reed is going to make his way into this ball game for the Kitchener Panthers. And Reed will enter on an 11.7 ERA. He's appeared in 15 games on the season, 20 innings pitched, 18 strikeouts, 18 walks, 33 hits.
Not the prettiest of stat lines there, and I think even though the starting pitcher is out of the game, with that strikeout to walk split, patience once again remains the name of the game for Cardinal hitters up there right now.
So 5 full innings from Ryan Burnside, who, as a catcher stepping onto the mound, gave the Panthers everything they could have asked for and then some tonight.
And we've seen this from opposing teams at Bernie Arbor multiple times lately. Last contest we had here a week ago, Braden Farrington was thought to be an opener in that game for the London Majors, and he ended up giving them 5 beautiful innings, saving the bullpen in the middle of a particularly brutal stretch of the schedule. And Ryan Burnside, no question about it, did the same thing tonight for his team in Kitchener.
You got to imagine the Cardinals, as we mentioned the stat line on Brett Reed, they've got to want to drag him into deep water here. You've already got Duncan and Niles on base. You've got DeBanning and Rempel following, and it looks like Simon's starting to warm. So they're going to try to bring some power up against Brett Reed.
Stepping up to the plate, the right fielder, number 16, Dennis DeBanning.
Evan Simons has been a revelation in that 9 spot for the Cardinals ever since he got here. If your 9-hitter can see the ball as well as he can, then you've got a deep lineup.
A star with the University of Ottawa. He was the university's athlete of the year, MVP of the baseball team, and then had a 400 average playing pro ball in Austria, where he also won a gold glove at third base.
This is a well-traveled ball player we have in our hands. We'll see if he draws into the lineup later.
As Reed winds and delivers, and DeBanning shoots that one back over the grandstand. 1-1 the count. Now Duncan at second, just about anything on the grass into the outfield is likely to score him. Niles can move as well. As Duncan puts this one on the ground to short. Quick on to second for 1. DeBanning not going to be able to beat it out at first. It'll go 6-4-3 on the double play as Tyler Duncan moves up to third.
Stepping up to the plate, the designated hitter.
And from 2 on with nobody out, it will be 1 on third with 2 out for Tanner Rempel.
Really great piece of pitching there by Brett Reed, using the outer half to get to Banning to roll over on something that he couldn't do much with.
I think DeBanning would want that one back.
Even though it was going to be a strike anyway, most likely sometimes you're just better off taking those pitches, especially in a double play situation. Dennis, of course, is a smart hitter, though. He will keep that in the back pocket going forward.
I just don't think he got the turn on it that he wanted, as you mentioned.
No.
As Reed delivers, Rempel on the ground to third base. Ball is fair, but the play over to first is in time, and Brett Reed steps in and retires the threat. And the Panthers go to the top of 7, holding their 6-0 lead. We'll be back with the Cardinals in the field next.
Well, let's check back in with our good friend Emily. Now on the mound for your Cardinals, number 88, K. Kozak.
We return for the top of the 7th inning, and the man we all expected into the ballgame, Cade Kozak, steps in his first IBL season. The lefty from Summerlin, BC, comes in with a 4-even ERA. In 9 games, he's pitched in 9 innings, which is why, as Matt mentioned earlier, he needs one more tonight to become playoff eligible. 7 strikeouts, 6 walks, 7 hits in those 9 innings. Kozak has been really good. When you talk about the 7 hits, 3 of those came in his first IBL appearance, which also had 3 runs against in a 5-3 loss to the Barrie Baycats. Since then, Kozak has given up 1 run in 8 1/3 and scattered 4 hits. Never more than 1 in each of his next 8 appearances. So after his pure rookie appearance, Matt, he's been brilliant.
I think what you're seeing there, Reed, is simply Kozak fulfilling his potential. The Cardinals knew they were getting a guy with great stuff when they signed him, and sometimes it's just as simple as reinforcing the strike zone to a guy with a really talented arm. And Corbin Peters said it up here in the broadcast booth a week ago today that Kozak, he believes, has the best stuff on the team. And he had a beautiful inning and 2/3 of relief work again in that game against London. But before he's even going to throw a pitch in this inning, they're going to have a conversation between Kozak, the umpire, and catcher Andrew Johnston. Kozak, during his warm-up, slipped and fell right off the mound upon landing. And the bottom of that mound, again, as we were talking about, is not in the best shape. Hopefully that doesn't bite Cade during game action here.
Colby Ring had an issue with it earlier on. Keeler Loveridge definitely had an issue with it. We have seen taller pitchers as Spencer Voisin sends this into left field, and it's going to fall for the single to open up the inning. We've seen taller pitchers on this season have the majority of the trouble with it, and I think back to Brett Lawson and Stefan Strecker, who had all, and now of course not everybody is, 6'8".
Yeah.
But they definitely had some trouble with the landing zone.
Thankfully, Cade did not appear to be injured after that incident. And you were talking about super utility man earlier, Reed, Brandon Daly. And
And it looks like we're going to have back-to-back hits here as this one into the gap. DeBanning after it. He will send it back into the infield, and very quickly runners on the corners as Voisin will scamper his way to third base, and it's a single for Jordan Carthy.
Now at the plate, shortstop, number 11, A.J. Carosis.
As A.J. Carosis will step in, and not exactly the entrance to the ball game that Cade Kozak was looking for.
Well, the thing about a strikeout guy like Kozak is you're not going to strike out if you don't let him get deep into the count. And it's been 2 pitches, 2 ambush, hard-hit balls for these Panthers so far off Kozak today.
Kozak delivers, and that one's going to run high, 1-0.
Before the pitch, I was trying to segue nicely before I was interrupted so rudely by a beautiful swing from Jordan Carthy. The Cardinals made some defensive changes that half inning. Evan Simon's in at left field. Brendan Daly moves over to second base. Cam Gravel has been lifted. So Simons does indeed draw in. We saw him swinging a bat before the last half inning. And he will send Daly over to the middle infield. Cardinals making sure everybody gets a little tune-up before the playoffs start at the end of the week.
So that likely puts Simons to bat in the 2 hole.
Yeah, it would.
And Daly will stay in the 9. As we make adjustments, why not?
Speaking of those playoffs coming up, as we take a look back to the out-of-town scoreboard, the Guelph Royals have extended their lead over the London Majors to a score of 4-1.
Oh boy.
Bottom of the 6th, and the Brantford Red Sox still hanging tough, 2-0 over Barrie, bottom 5. So again, massive implications for the Cardinals, as those games will dictate who they play in the playoffs. We're not going to know for sure until tomorrow's game between London and Guelph is wrapped up.
No, but insanity is underway, as Kozak is going to lose Carosis to the walk, so bases loaded with nobody out, and Laird will step in.
Stepping up to the plate, right fielder, number 14, Nathan Laird.
As Laird will step up, having picked up an RBI his last time up, single with the error in right field.
And again, we talked about this game not really mattering for either of these 2 teams in the standings. The Cardinals are locked into 6th place. The Panthers are locked into 8th, and they know who they're facing in round 1. So with that considered, and the guy on the mound right now, Cade Kozak is pitching this inning no matter how many runs he gives up or no matter what happens with the bases loaded and nobody out situation, because he has got to pitch in the playoffs. The Cardinals will need him. This is his hole to dig out of, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah, he just got jumped on as soon as he came into the ball game and hasn't been able to get really untracked just yet.
The Panthers could put up another 4 spot, and Cade will still pitch because he does need that inning.
Has to have 3 outs. And that time he'll get the strike. Nice frame from Johnston as well. 2-1. I mean, in theory, he's a strikeout and a ground ball to somebody in the infield away from getting out of it.
Right on. We saw how fast it could turn. Junior Ibarra was the 9th man up with the bases loaded and 1 out in the inning that would seem like it would never end. But then Loveridge got him to roll over, and then the Cardinals came up to bat just like that.
2-2 now the count, as Kozak gets Laird swinging. Well, of course, in the last inning, Cardinals started off with a single and a walk, and then a double play and a ground out. Wipes out a threat. And now full count as Kozak had that one come out of the hand kind of funky. 3-2. Big pitch here for Kozak, just from confidence alone to get through this inning. As they'll have to look into Johnston. And the lefty will set and deliver. And gets Laird swinging through it. There's the strikeout for Cade Kozak.
Beautiful pitch there from Kozak, unfazed by the situation. There was nowhere to put him with 3 balls and the bases loaded, and he fires a strike on the outer half to get Laird swinging.
McTagg will step in. 2 walks in the ball game for McTagg, a run scored and a strikeout.
And that strikeout of Laird right there is the biggest problem, biggest thorn in the Cardinals' side to this point in the game, over and done with.
Ball on the ground. Kozak charging hard, and he will exchange the run for the out at first base. So the fielder's choice will go 1-3. McTagg will bring Voisin across, who had the single to open it up, but very quickly now to 2 outs. Spencer Ross will step in. A fly out to second, 2 walks, a caught stealing, and a fielder's choice. He's been a little bit of everywhere. And Kozak opens him up with a strike, and now you can see Cade Kozak starting to locate where he wanted to be right from the step in. Oh, 0-1. Ross sending this one into left field. Duncan over for it, will make the grab, and just like that, Cade Kozak, good news for the Cardinals. Playoff eligible. The score 7-0, but that beside the point, as they'll have Kozak in the bullpen, and Tyler Duncan with the catch to assure it for the playoffs. Johnston will lead off the bottom of 7 when we return.
All the game day crew, staff here, everyone involved, you all are so amazing. And today, my good friend Sophie, who does all our socials, she is going to join me for the 7th inning stretch, and so are you. Everybody on your feet. Sing it loud and proud, Hamilton, here we go.
Bottom of 7. Andrew Johnston will make his way in. Johnston, who's going to be followed in the order by Stephen Whalen, unless we're going to see a few more switches, but I think that's pretty much assured just at the moment. Daly to follow them, as Brett Reed will continue along, the righty who got out of trouble for the Panthers in the bottom of 6.
We talked about the struggles that Reed has had this season, but definitely earning the right to eat multiple innings here after getting that huge double play, courtesy of Dennis DeBanning last inning to kill that threat.
I get the feeling he's not going to have much of a choice.
That's true, but you may as well look good and perform well while you're doing it.
Yeah, again, we go back to what we were talking about earlier. There is nobody down in the Panthers bullpen. It is vacant.
And yet another warm-up pitch has sailed away in the Cardinals bullpen.
Ball on the ground. Johnston trying to beat it out, but it'll be quick on from A.J. Carosis. He and Spencer Ross have been brilliant in the middle infield tonight. They just simply have not made a mistake. Stephen Whalen will step in. This will complete the third time through the order with Whalen and Daly for the Cardinals in this ball game. On the other side, Panthers have run through their 4th as Whalen rips this one along. Spencer Ross has been up to the plate in the 1st, 2nd, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Wow. No shortage of looks for the Panthers hitters before they go into their series with Welland.
As that pitch outside, 1-1 to Whalen.
Welland, of course, trying to defend their first IPL crown that they secured last year. And Kitchener beat Welland at home just a couple of weeks ago, and I feel like the weird Jack Couch Park voodoo might give the Panthers a sneaky advantage in that one. We'll see if there's upset potential there.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an easy defense for Welland. They will obviously go into the playoffs as the favorite, but you look at Barrie, you look at London, you look at Guelph. When the Cardinals have everything rolling, they're a dangerous team. There's something going on with the Toronto Maple Leafs and then the Kitchener Panthers.
It just doesn't look like there's an easy path for everybody. Everybody looks like they're going into the playoffs on the right foot, by and large.
Yeah, there's no free spaces on that bingo card. As ball on the ground, Misa to Reed, 2 away. And the struggles at the plate tonight, notwithstanding, playoffs a different animal, and I don't know if I'm Guelph, London, or even Barrie, if I really want to have to go a Gucci, a Katska, Peters. I'm going to be off balance all series.
Well, and you get that sense, too, talking to the players and hearing what the chatter is around the league. As up and down as they've been this season, nobody wants to face Hamilton. They have definitely struck fear into all of their potential opponents with the pitching rotation that they have. And it'll be a tough road for anyone who's got to deal with it.
Talking about the bats as well, again, not in the lineup for the Cardinals tonight. Danny Berg is hitting .338 on the season. So if you have the ability to go DeCastro, Berg, Duncan, Bernardo, DeBanning, that's a dangerous lineup to have to navigate through.
And Berg, we love talking about him because he just adds so much length with his patience at the plate.
Daly, hot shot, and a bit of a break that time. Kind of the first one the Cardinals have seen tonight where a ball has gone through a glove on the Kitchener side, as that hot shot gave Voisin some trouble, and no doubt on with the single is Daly.
And that's what we like to call positive aggression right there, Reed, because last time up, Brandon Daly absolutely smashed a ball up the middle, but was thrown out. And that time, the universe rewarding him for his, again, the hours and hours of extra work he's been putting in lately. He is, again, has been working harder than anybody I've seen, trying to make sure that he's in a good place going into the playoffs, and all that hard work is paying off. He has 3 very well-hit balls tonight, and I know that regardless of the outcome, he'll be happy going into the postseason after this one.
Kelvin DeCastro lofts one foul. DeCastro 0 for 3 tonight. Twice on the ground, 6-3, and then a fly out to the right fielder. So DeCastro would love to get on base here, just to make sure he's in the groove heading in as the Cardinals' leadoff man. As Brett Reed delivers, and that one high. 2-1 the count to Kelvin DeCastro.
And DeCastro has been the leadoff man, I believe, every game since he's come to Hamilton, except maybe the first one. But if Berg were to come back into the lineup, he might not be set there. Berg is a prototypical leadoff hitter. He doesn't necessarily have the best speed, but the way he makes pitchers work and the amount of times that he can just get on base without even swinging the bat opens up a lot of potential avenues for Chris Piano and the coaching staff.
As DeCastro made Reed throw him a strike that time, and he did just that. If I'm Tyler Duncan, I would love to see, if I'm going to hit out of that 3-hole, I'd love to have DeCastro and Berg ahead of me in some form or fashion.
That's good living right there. You're already one of the best hitters in the league. Imagine hitting with those two in front of you.
DeCastro sends one high, falling, but it's not going to be in time to the grass And the Cardinals retired on the fly out to left field. It'll be the top of the 8th inning, led off by Nolan Misa right after this.
My first professional glove, that's the one I remember the most. When I was coming up, even though it wasn't that long ago, having your name on a glove was a big deal.
Stepping up to the plate, the first baseman, number 20, Nolan Misa.
Making our way through the home stretch as the Kitchener Panthers hold the 7-0 lead over the Hamilton Cardinals into the top of the 8th inning. And it will be Nolan Misa to lead things off for the Panthers. Misa 1 for 4 in the ball game, but that one is an RBI single. And Kozak will deliver and get him swinging through for strike one. Kate Kozak, Matt, came on, loaded the bases, then got out of it.
Yeah, he again, he needed just one inning to qualify for the playoffs, but it's kind of nerve-wracking when he goes in there and loads the bases right away, and you kind of realize that he is going to be in that game for as long as it takes for him to get that inning.
And Misa's going to launch that one into left field. Simon's quick to it, and Simons was a cannon out there from the warning track. Put that on the bounce back to Daly at second, and it'll hold Misa to just the single. And that'll bring Raul Gonzalez up to the plate.
One of Evan Simon's many accomplishments when he was playing overseas in Austria, he won the Gold Glove Award for his league as a third baseman. So he's got a cannon, no matter where you put him.
Got to imagine he'll be a fixture in the lineup in the playoffs as Kozak delivers. Gonzalez on the ground. Quick on, Daly for one, DeCastro for two, double play. 4-6-3, quick turn, nicely done by the Cardinals defense.
Stepping up to the plate, the catcher, number 48, Junior Ibarra.
And that's exactly how you atone for a leadoff hit given up if you're Cade Kozak. Gonzalez's struggles against these Cardinals continue.
And once again, Brandon Daly showing off his importance to this ball club. He's been on base twice in this ball game. And just made another nice defensive play at a different position. We've seen him in left field, we've seen him at second base, we've seen him all over the diamond on the season. A homegrown talent, and it does make a big difference when you can bring them through the junior system. A lot like what you see in European soccer, Matt, and then there's something a little bit extra when you bring a guy through the academy.
Right, and I think that goes a long way towards bolstering the organization's reputation as team that can develop young players. Does a lot for Hamilton on the field and their reputation off of it.
Of course, as a Manchester United fan, I had to wave goodbye to a couple of academy
Oh,
grads
goodness.
over this transfer window. Hannibal Mebry, apparently the latest one on the way out. Yeah, but Palestri wasn't an academy guy. As Kozak will deliver. And Ibarra is going to take the walk. See, I'm breaking a television rule there. I'm talking to Josh, the PA announcer, off microphone. He mentioned Facundo Palestri, who is a talented Uruguayan who's apparently on his way to Panathinaikos in Greece.
Looking out to our left here, Reed, it looks like we're going to have Connor Corey for the 9th inning. He seems to be warming up down there in that Cardinal bullpen.
Thank you for bringing me back to baseball so eloquently, as that is ball 1 to Spencer Voisin.
No worries. It's game 42. It's game 42, and it is freezing. Our minds are wandering. It happens.
I watched the season opener, United against Fulham on Friday, so I'm riding high. They're 1-0. Stop the count. Kozak delivers, and that'll be flashed out foul. 1-1. Was that my car? No, it's not.
You can never be too sure.
As Kozak has a youngster down in front of us picked up on it, too. That the ball landed over there, and the sound effect came from back here. And, I don't know where Mercier wanted that one. Kozak painted the edge. You know, this is something that Neil and I had a conversation about earlier on in the season. Look where Mercier's head is.
Right.
He's way to the inside of the plate.
You're right. How about that?
How can he get a good judge of what is on the outside edge? As Whalen gave chase to that one, 2-2 the count.
I had a great Corbin Peters, by the way, was a blast up here in the booth last week. Me and him were just absolutely nerding out over pitching for a few innings there. Love to talk ball with Corbin, and he had a great point, too, about as a pitcher, you do have to know your umpires, and slightly altering your game plan according to where they tend to be generous in the strike zone can go a long way.
I got to believe that around the IBL, and I've said this before, and
oh, goodness. We have a pen throw in the booth, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no.
I don't know where else Kozak can put a pitch.
Fair enough, honestly.
I don't know.
He's really being gouged out there by that tight zone.
I mean, Johnston did a little frame, but he really didn't even need it.
No.
As Kozak will deliver again, this one to second, and it takes a bounce on Daly. It'll roll into right field, and it's going to be runners on the corners as Ibarra will scoot his way over to third base, but that at bat should have been long over.
Now at the plate, left fielder number 12, Jordan Carthy.
Kozak threw 2 strikes that were judged as balls.
That's right, and to add on to just the absolutely twisted luck that the Cardinals dealt with that at bat, that was a terrible hop that ball took on Brandon Daly over at second base. I don't really know what he was supposed to do either. Ball shifted about 45 degrees the other way after that one bounce.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times in the dirt in this ballpark where it takes a very funny hop. I think when you're in playoff time, pitchers around the IBL, the guy that I would want behind the plate is Jeff Rose. I think he's the elite of the elite. As this one tracking, debating, not able to come up with it. It'll come off his shoulder, throws on to second to Castro. Got him there. So the run will score to make this an 8-0 game, but Dennis DeBanning with the toss on to Brendan Daly And that will get the Cardinals out of the inning. And it will be an 8-0 Kitchener lead as we head to the bottom of the 8th after this.
Hey there, fans, it is your last chance to get your grub and swag on. Our concessions at the merch purse will be closing at the conclusion of this inning. This is your last call. Stepping up to the plate, the left fielder, number 6, Evan Simon.
Evan Simons will open up the bottom of the 8th inning for the Hamilton Cardinals. He'll take his first chance of the ball game here. And facing Brett Reed, and Simons on the ground to third base, stretching forward his voice in. Simons going to beat it out at first. Well, that's a heck of a way to step into the ball game. Now somebody get that man an oxygen mask.
If you're going to put a ground ball down the line, that's exactly how you want to do it. Make the third baseman snare it on his backhand on a hop deep in the hole. Even somebody as talented as Voisin is not going to be able to get that throw off in time to first base.
Just going to say tip of the cap to Spencer Voisin for being able to transition that ball and make the toss to first base and still have it that close.
He was always going to be safe, but it ended up being closer than I thought it was going to be.
Tyler Duncan steps in, right back up the middle, eludes Brett Reed. It'll end up being a fielder's choice. And Duncan will be safe at first, but Simons will be caught out.
Stepping up to the plate, the first baseman, number 30, Josh Niles.
That'll bring in Josh Niles. And does watch that like Josh Niles swing. I think I like the walk-up music even more. Anybody who comes up to Chris Stapleton, big fan.
This could very well be Josh's final AB of the season. Let's see if he can end things off on a high note here.
Take care of him, Canisius, and send him back next May, please. As Brett Reed will deliver. That ball on the bounce. It will take a twist. And Duncan will be cut down at second base. And, Matt, there's a difference tonight. Those funny hops, They haven't gotten into the grass for the Cardinals. They've died out in
No,
the infield.
and even a ball hit as softly as that one came off the end of Niles' bat is always a threat to pinball around. Do not be deceived by the low exit below on that one. It was a struggle there for Spencer Ross to corral it, but he does a nice job to get the force out.
So back-to-back fielder's choice. And Dennis DeBanning will bat with Josh Niles over at first base. Cardinals would just love to get something on the board in this ball game to walk away with. And DeBanning with the quick signal on to Niles as the wild pitch will move him up to second. So DeBanning batting now with a runner in scoring position. As Brett Reed will have the look in. And DeBanning got a good piece of it, tracking back into right field, and it will turn foul. Just not enough luck thus far tonight. And that will bring DeBanning back in 2-2. Brett Reed with the look in. And next to me is our station manager, Jonathan Friedman.
I'm here to visit you and stay here on a gorgeous, beautiful, cool, clear night.
It's been great up here.
Yeah. I came here to talk to Eric, our owner and GM, and find out what the plans are for Cable 14 and the broadcast schedule for the playoffs, but it's not there quite yet.
No, because there's still so much up in the air. The Brantford Red Sox are attempting to throw a wrench into everything tonight.
I just saw that.
they pretty much said, if our season is over, as Matt said earlier, we're just going to watch the world burn, while Guelph and London are essentially playing a mini playoff series in the last 2 nights of the regular season.
I can't believe this. We actually can flop just speaking downstairs and find out the Barry if they lose 2, and if London wins 2, or Guelph wins 2. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, way too many options as Dennis DeBanning is going to draw a walk, and that's going to bring Tanner Rempel up to the plate.
But we're on the road. We're on the road for game 1. We know it for sure.
Yes.
And we're excited to have you around.
I just gotta move some things around with a training camp coming up.
Well, you're busy. You're getting busy now, aren't you?
I'll figure it out.
You're getting busy now.
Little bit. It's the OHL is a weird animal in that we'll have training camp where it's all hands on deck, and then you start the preseason. Then everybody scatters to NHL camps, and you sit around for a couple of weeks and go, all right, now what do we do?
I know we don't have. I know we're. Brantford's not enough footprint for Cable 14, but I got to tell you something. Went up to that venue just last week with Jeff, and I said, you know what? You guys got a great thing there. It's the fans of the Bulldogs here in Hamilton. Take that trip.
Yes.
Take that short drive because you guys did a great job, an incredible job up there.
And so much on the team that we've got, Jeff Elia and that crew in the front office, and we've made it our home. We took the old Brantford Civic Center and the history in that building with the Brantford Alexanders going back to 1978, and we've turned it into something special in 2024.
It's a fun night out. I'll tell you that much.
As Brett Reed will wind and deliver, Tanner Rempel skies that one back. Cardinals just trying to get something out of these latter couple of innings. Big thing tonight, as Matt and I were talking about earlier, Cade Kozak now playoff eligible. He got his inning pitched, so the Cardinals have him as a weapon now out of the bullpen when they play any of Barrie, London, or Guelph, and Rempel will head down on strikes. Top of the 9th on the way. Connor Corey on his way to the hill as we will finish out the fielding half of the Cardinals' home season next.
Fans, everyone here at the Cardinals thanks you from the bottom of our hearts
That'll help. That'll help. Well, I'm already working on that. We'll figure it out.
$70,000 covers.
Connor Corey takes the hill for the Hamilton Cardinals. And, Matt, what appears to be the final half inning defensively for the Cardinals on this regular season.
Yeah, and that red hot chili peppers you heard in between innings can only mean one thing. Connor Corey coming into the game. Pride of Manitoba for these Hamilton Cardinals. He's been real dependable as a right-hander. Corbin Peters, of course, while he was up here in the booth with me last week, tabbed his changeup as the single best pitch on the team, in his opinion.
That is saying something, considering Corbin Peters himself and his fastball.
Right, and Corey has used that changeup in big spots. A couple Sundays ago at London, down by 1 in the 8th, bases loaded, 1 out. Corey was pitching against Starling Joseph and struck him out with a nasty change.
Yeah, he's going to get A.J. Carosas to put the ball on the ground. Daly to Niles, 1 away.
And that strikeout, of course, set up the chance for the Cardinals to come back and score 2 and win that game in the 9th. So Corey is no stranger to pitching in these big spots, and it's only going to get more important from here on out as he figures to be a key high-leverage piece going into the postseason.
Well, again,
Hamilton.
I know this Cardinals team is a long way from done with the playoffs around the corner, but thinking down the road, if you can bring Raquelbin DeCastro back, he's 21 years old. If you can have Connor Corey and Zach Cameron and Stephen Hospital and Cade Kozak and Akatsuka, Iguchi, Peters, the options that this ball club is going to have from a 30 and under group, you look around the field and the number of guys under 30 years old, it's going to be a team that can challenge for a championship sooner rather than later. As this ball on the ground, DeCastro takes it on the hop, but he's not going to have enough time to be able to get that to Niles.
You saw Corey there. He had trouble with the mound right there, almost slipping and falling there a little bit on that delivery. Wise by DeCastro to put that in his back pocket.
Stepping up to the plate.
But like you were just saying, Reed, it is so easy to get lost in the possibilities that this team has on the table going forward. You don't want to assume that anybody is going to come back, because as nice as that would be, you know, it is a business and everybody has their own career, and it's tough to say what guys are going to want to do going forward, especially somebody like DeCastro, who's 21. He's got a lot of baseball in front of him no matter where it is.
Yep.
But that being said, you know, the fact that the Cardinals can dream about that and that it's not necessarily unrealistic to have just an absolute juggernaut here next year, 2 years from now, and it says a lot too. Dennis DeBanning and I were talking about this recently, that guys want to come here now.
Ball on the ground, Daly for 1, DeCastro back to Niles, not in time.
It didn't used to always be that way, right? So it's been a big few years for this Cardinals team, and when you can kind of vault yourself into a position of initial growth like that, the possibilities for exponentially more down the road only get bigger and bigger.
I mean, you look at, you have the middle of the lineup staple in Tyler Duncan, who appears pretty committed to the Hamilton Cardinals organization. And you can start to build around that. And you have guys like Dennis DeBanning, who loves it here. You have a Danny Berg. You have Brendan Daly coming through your system. Josh Niles, who's repeatedly returned to the Cardinals organization. There is so much positive, and you think down the road when some guys maybe when they get past school commitments as well, like a Connor Hicks. I mean, there's a guy who could be an all-star catcher
Absolutely.
at the IBL level.
It says a lot that even with guys going away to school, the Cardinals still have a lot to look forward to. It speaks to the depth of the organization and the fantastic work that's been done by Eric and Larry as co-head honchos. And lots more work to be done yet, but I think it's an opportunity that these Cardinals are going to relish.
Whoa, Connor Corey's footing betrayed him that time.
That mound has been unforgiving today.
Yeah, there's got to be some work done on that before the Cardinals host their first playoff game.
Whole shoelace came untied.
That's not going to help either. So on the out-of-town scoreboard.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
It is a 5-2 Guelph lead.
Wow.
In the top of the 8th inning over the London Majors. Meanwhile, it is a 2-1 Brantford Red Sox lead in the bottom of the 7th.
Okay.
As Connor Corey will wind and deliver, and Spencer Ross sends that one into foul territory. So, again, the Brantford Red Sox, coming down to the end of the season, are trying to make a massive impact. As Corey will wind and deliver, and Ross hammers this one to Castro, backhands it, cross the diamond to Niles, and Connor Corey works a clean half inning. Last half inning of the Cardinals defensively for the regular season. Last half inning offensively right after this.
Kitchener as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning.
Yeah.
Bottom of the 9th inning, and the Kitchener Panthers, like we were watching a hockey game, have gone wholesale. Jordan Carthy, who is playing left field, is going to come in to pitch for the bottom of the 9th. That moves Raul Gonzalez to third base because Carthy, who is in left field, will be spelled by Voisin, who moves from third base out to left.
I would expect nothing less in the bottom of the 9th of a blowout game 42 of the regular season.
Oh, why not? And the three-quarter arm on Jordan Carthy will be tasked with getting the final 3 outs of this regular season for both the Panthers and the Cardinals. And those Brantford Red Sox in the top of the 8th inning are holding on for dear life.
Unbelievable.
To that 2-1 lead. They've got 1 out now in the top of the 8th inning.
Unbelievable. So, again,
this is going to get crazy.
There are many possible scenarios from the Cardinal perspective of who they play in the playoffs, and I'm not going to exhaust you with every single one, but what you need to know right now in simplest terms is that if the results of the games that are being played right now hold, and Guelph ends up beating London and Brantford ends up beating Barrie, what we would have then is one more game the rest of the way. If tonight's results hold, then we go to tomorrow. If London wins that game against Guelph tomorrow, then the Cardinals will play the Barrie Bay Cats in the first round. If the Guelph Royals win that game tomorrow, then the Cardinals will get the Guelph Royals in the first round. So if Brantford holds on for this victory, then that pretty well takes the London Majors out of the realm of possibility.
Stephen Whalen will chop this one into left field. Johnston on his horse. He'll round for third. He'll make it. Whalen to second. He's safe as well. And the Cardinals, here in the bottom of the ninth inning, trying to get a little something going. By the way, how important do the Guelph Royals think this game is? Jacob Cush is in that ball game right now.
Okay, so they want that. They are clearly acting with the future in mind, with Cush coming in relief of Kyle Thomas there. And as for this game, normally I would consider what just happened to be absolute reckless base running, but you're down 8-0, and Whalen just smoked one to the gap. So why would you not, right? And there you go.
Hey, we're going to get a pair. Daly for one. Johnston crosses. Here comes Stephen Whalen. And the Cardinals get two on the board in the bottom of the ninth. Brandon Daly, how about it?
Have a day, Daly. Really. That is impressive. That is a young man who is seeing all his hard work pay off. And again, bottom of the ninth, you may as well just run wild. How about it?
Why not? Raquelvin DeCastro will come up. Nobody out. Daly's over at first. Just keeping one eye on that. And Cush had runners on first and third and got out of it.
The plot thickens for these Cardinals.
Of 8. 5-2 Guelph. As DeCastro smoked that one back up the middle, but it's going to be right into a double play. And that'll retire DeCastro and Daly.
Stepping up to the plate, the left fielder, number 6, Evan Simons.
Evan Simons. Cardinals down to their last out in the ballgame. And it gets more interesting between Brantford and Barrie. Jaco, Macabrota, Williams go down in order in the top of the 8th. The Baycats have 3 outs left in the top of the 9th to try to rescue that ball game.
Oh, my goodness.
This is getting insane. And, of course, the frequently seen 1-6-3 double play on that last one, as Jordan Carthy was able to turn around and turn it quick. How many times have we seen a ball back up the middle for the Cardinals go off the pitcher, take a funny bounce, slow down? Just some bad luck with balls in play.
Just another silly one here at Bernie Arbor. Batted ball, luck not really falling the Cardinals' way.
Simons launches this one. It's going to end the ball game as Liam McTagg will race on. The Kitchener Panthers will take an 8-2 victory over the Hamilton Cardinals as the regular season comes to a close, but there is so much more to come for this Cardinals team, but it's going to take a bit before we find out, Matt, exactly what that is. As Guelph is holding on against London right now, 5-2, bottom of the 8th there. And on the other side, the Brantford Red Sox. I don't know how they're doing it, but it's a 2-1 lead, and they've held the Barrie Baycats to 4 hits in that ballgame.
Truly unbelievable, and they always tend to save the wackiest stuff for the end of the season, and it's great entertainment value for us. But as for the Cardinals, the regular season ends off on a less than satisfactory note on a Tuesday night game where, let's be honest, there wasn't really much incentive for either team to show up to the ballpark today. They know where they are in the standings, and more than anything, you're just focusing on health and rest before the playoffs. But Colby Ring and Kate Kozak did a great job leading the effort tonight to save the bullpen, so all the Cardinals' top arms will be ready to go for that first-round playoff series against whoever it may be. If you're Hamilton, you got to love the fact that Tyler Duncan has been who he is all season and showed, again, just a perfect encapsulation of why he is one of the best hitters in this league. And Brandon Daly, another strong point for the offense tonight with 4 real hard hit balls through the infield for him. And moving forward, all you can do now is scoreboard watch. And again, should the results tonight hold, then we're looking at a matchup with either the Barrie Baycats or the Guelph Royals in the first round. Again, depending on how it all shakes out. Lots to still be figured out with 24 hours to go before the regular season ends, Reed.
And on a final note for me, Matt, I've talked all season long with you, with Neil, with Troy, about how the Cardinals have had some bad luck. The baseball gods not smiling on them from about the end of June through the end of the regular season. You got to feel like that's going to turn around. And does it turn around now in the playoffs? Because tonight, they lose the ball game by an 8-2 final. Hits in this ball game, 12 for the Kitchener Panthers, 9 for the Hamilton Cardinals. 2 errors for Kitchener, 1 for Hamilton. Was this really an 8-2 game at the end of it? Not quite. When does that needle turn for the Cardinals? And if they have their entire lineup at the ready, Danny Berg is back in left field, Daly is super utility, Evan Simons is in. I don't think there's a team in the IBL that can confidently say we want the Cardinals in round 1.
I don't think so either, and you don't want to look at this unfold over a full season and start making excuses for the guys, but the eye test and the numbers back it up. The Cardinals have been dealt a poor hand at times this season, and again, that's not something you want to get into the habit of saying, especially if you're one of the players, but the reality of the IBL schedule is that 42 games doesn't give the most time in the world for things to even out the way they necessarily should. But the Cardinals, again, they're not going to let today phase them. They feel good going into the postseason. And if there were ever a time for things to iron out, it's now. It's that last week of August and stretch into September where they can really start to go to work.
And the last thing I learned on this baseball season, Matt Creeley's a heck of a baseball broadcaster. Great to work with you and our entire Cable 14 crew. Matt, to the playoffs we go.
To the playoffs we go, Reed. I am half the broadcaster you are. If that, you, Neil, and Troy have done a great job all season, and I have the utmost confidence you'll do a great job taking us the rest of the way home through this playoffs. Best of luck to you.
Do not be a stranger up here. For our entire production crew, thank you for being with us on this Cardinals season. I'm Reed Duffy. It's been a wonderful regular season. Playoffs are always more fun, and they come up next.